I'd like to bring in Hong Hao, Chief Economist at Grow Investment Group. He joins us from Hong Kong. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Hong. November new yuan loans were up from October, but lower than expectations. What are the implications for China's economic recovery?
Yes, thanks for having me. I think the loan growth is still healthy, because towards the end you have a negative seasonality. Normally people borrow less at this time of the year. This time of the year is for the Chinese to repay their loans borrow earlier in the year, right? So normally going into the end of the year, seasonality-wise, you just naturally borrow less. So I'm not too concerned about a slightly slower loan growth in the last quarter of the year.
Broad M2 money supply in November rose 10% from a year earlier, roughly in line with expectations, similar to the growth number in October. So policymakers seem to have no interest in flooding the market with liquidity. What's your take?
Yeah, I think at this juncture, it's probably better to assess the broader macro environment carefully before committed to easing or dramatically easing monetary policy. Reason being, the Federal Reserve is still pondering whether it can stop hiking interest rate or even cut its interest rate. So the interest rate differential between the two countries has been one of the driving factors for the yuan currency, and as you know, the stability of the Chinese yuan has been one of the focuses of discussions in the Economic World Conference. So I think at this juncture, we'll probably pay to wait and see what Federal Reserve is going to do, and also if you look at the market interest rate and also the 10-year Chinese Treasury rates has been going down. So what that means is that the market has rather abundant liquidity. So it in this juncture it really pays to wait to see what's going to happen in the international markets.
You said the market is rather full of liquidity. It's not short of liquidity, but the Central Economic Work Conference, the focus was on prudent rather than forceful monetary policy for 2024. It was announced. Some foreign investors have said they have expressed disappointment. Why do you think their disappointment that China didn't give any signs of big stimulus next year? Which one do you prefer, prudent or forceful policies? I think you just made very clear that you'd rather have prudent policy.
That's right, you're right. I think we would much prefer prudent policy, meaning in China, when you really turn on the spigot of liquidity, things tend to get out of control, right? So, people would take on the liquidity and start to speculate on asset markets and push up asset prices. I think for foreign investors and also in general for the market, obviously, it really want to have a large bazooka of stimulus so that stock price and also other asset price would go up. As a natural consequence, they were always hoping for very large stimulus. I think the policymakers shouldn't be dictated by market actions, and I think in this juncture, we should make policy from the standpoint of how best to grow the Chinese economy instead of how best to satisfy the market. So I think we're making the right choice here. Just pay to wait and see what's going to happen in the global markets.
Well said. The conference didn't offer any new ideas, but instead stuck to a strategy previously mentioned in its key meetings, including the 20th National Congress of the CPC back in late 2022, promoting manufacturing, high-tech, consumption, all these opening up and using growth to deal with problems such as debt and employment. What's your take on this approach?
Yeah, I think it further emphasizes on how best to use technology advancement to grow the economy, and also it emphasizes on high quality growth. So I think the message has been rather consistent, and then this is a very sort of a fine tuning from last year's strategy of growing to stabilize the economy. So I think going forward, technological development would be increasingly more important in the overall economic growth structure. And I think it's, in a sense that it's higher quality growth So I think people in the past has been obsessed with growing fast so that you can gain a higher appreciation in the stock price and also maybe benefiting from the property price appreciation as well. But I think in a way growing fast without considering the costs and consequences actually sort of got us into a situation where we have to deal right now. So I would say that at this juncture, higher quality growth is the key, and I think also at this juncture, quality is more important than speed.
Quality is more important than speed. Very well said. Thank you so much for joining us. As Mr. Hong Hao joined us from Hong Kong.